Hello, welcome to my presentation, ESC 2021 Apres Rona, entries in the semifinals. I am your host. You are on my channel. This is Jokul989. In this presentation, I will be briefly going over some key differences and similarities between the 2020 and 2021 cycles. I will follow that up with my semifinal predictions and end with my thoughts on the 2021 cycle. Let us begin. But before we get started, I just want to say that this is a very solid year. There aren't too many songs of the songs competing in the semifinals of the non-automatic qualifiers that I could not make a convincing case for, that I would say that song is a terrible dud. There aren't a lot of songs. All the songs are pretty solid this year. Some stronger than others, but all in all, pretty solid. So, that said, I'm expecting big surprises. I like to predict things. I like to be right about things. Who doesn't? But I also expect that the reality of the semifinal finalists is going to be significantly different from my expectations. So, here's hoping. Let's move on. So, from 2021, we have 27 returnees. Here is a slide of them all. I won't waste your time reading them, but 27 returnees. What I will say about the returnees is that we have a couple of groups. We have the groups who decided to do what they do best, but better, stronger. We have the group that said, let me see what I did last year and do the complete opposite of that. So if I went for a slow song last year, let me go for a fast song this year, vice versa. First group, we might have artists like Ukraine, The Roop, Iceland. In the second group, where we went one extreme to another, we have Moldova, we have Vasil, we have other artists as well. So, it's been interesting to see how that's played out. But I think all in all, I could generally liked maybe this year a bit more, but I don't think any artist had a severe dip in quality of song. Um, Maybe the song I don't like as much as I hope I would have. Probably the Netherlands and Bulgaria, but even then they grow on me. So it's been interesting to see that lockdown pandemic evolution, if you will, that cancellation span evolution, if you will. Um, so my rankings at the end of watching 39, watching and listening, reacting to 39 songs, from 1 to 39: Ukraine, Australia, Iceland, Italy, Greece, Lithuania, Malta, France, Austria, Belgium, Portugal, Azerbaijan, Switzerland, Romania, Albania, Moldova, Denmark, Israel, Finland, Spain, Georgia, Slovenia, Latvia, North Macedonia, Croatia, Czech Republic, San Marino, Ireland, Cyprus, Russia, Serbia, United Kingdom, Norway, Estonia, Netherlands, Belgium, Bulgaria, Sweden, Poland, and Germany. Now, obviously, we have 6 automatic qualifiers, so those need to look a bit different. But before I show you how they look different, let's just look and see that half of the non-qualifiers are in my latter 10th, and 2 of the non-qualifiers are in my upper 10th. So really the big middle mass of my rankings remains unchanged or unaffected by those automatic qualifiers. And unchanged maybe isn't the right word for it, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So, top 33. Let's read them again. Ukraine, Australia, Iceland, Greece, Lithuania, Malta, Austria, Belgium, Portugal, Azerbaijan, Switzerland, Romania, Albania, Moldova, Denmark, Israel, Finland, Georgia, Slovenia, Latvia, North Macedonia, Croatia, Czech Republic, San Marino, Ireland, Cyprus, Russia, Serbia, Norway, Estonia, Bulgaria, Sweden, and Poland. Um, and from here, we will move on into the semifinal predictions. So, quick slide showing you the semifinals and how they break down of the 33. We've got 16 in semifinal 1 and 17 in semifinal 2. And here they go with the rankings. Now this is confusing, don't worry, it'll clear up in a second. But just a quick slide on that. So, semifinals. In order, the entries of each semifinal in order of how I ranked them. And so my average ranking for semifinal 1 was 16.3. If you're interested in that, that's what it was. So if I said, okay, here's how I ranked the 16 countries competing in semifinal 1. Who are my top 10? Who are my top 10 from there? My top 10 are Ukraine, Australia, Lithuania, Malta, Belgium, Azerbaijan, Romania, Israel, Slovenia, North Macedonia. If I wasn't thinking critically and I went off of my rankings alone of how I like them, this is who I would say would advance. But I can think critically. And I know better. I don't think the Belgian song will advance. I love it. I think it's great. I don't think people agree with me. The Romanian song is nice enough, but I don't know that it's strong enough or evokes enough emotion one way or the other across the board. So I don't think of the other songs in the semifinal that it's a better song or will move the populace, the voting bloc, enough to go into the semifinal, past the semifinal and into the finals. And then the other one I took out was North Macedonia. I love this song. If it ends up moving past the final, I think it'll be a fantastic contender for the jury votes. Because it's so fun to sing along to. A lot of songs, initial listen, it's like, okay, but you listen to more, and then it's just like, next thing you know, you're singing, there are times when I look back and da-da-da-da, and all I do is smile. So, I like the song. It's grown on me a great deal since I first listened to it, but I don't know that with respect to other songs in the semifinal, I think it'll move on. So which songs did I say I think will move on to the semifinal? I said Cyprus for sure. Cyprus for sure. I can actually see Cyprus being like the Armenian entry from 2019, I believe it was. That I said, definitely gonna go in, definitely gonna make it past, and it didn't go in at all. And I was a bit upset about that entry, but I feel like the videos look similar, walking out. But what I think Cyprus will move on. It's a fun upbeat dance track. I think we'll move on. Sweden, I have made known my thoughts on Melodifestivalen, in my reaction videos to the Swedish song and the Melodifestivalen results. I do not get this song. It does not speak to me as much as I wish it would. It would be nice if I could also understand the hype, but I don't. But enough people do. So I think that it'll definitely move on. And then the whole thing is, okay, so which is the last one I need to move in? Why did I pick Russia as opposed to, say, Norway? I could 100% see the Norwegian song moving on. This was a tough choice between Russia and Norway. The Norwegian song, I don't want to say generic, I don't want to say run-of-the-mill, but it's not something super crazy new. The Russian song, there's a lot happening in the Russian song. But do I think that which one do I think is more interesting? It's more definitely going to get a bigger support. I think that ended up being the Russian song for me. I think the Russian song has a lot enough going for it in a different that's interesting sense to say, you know what, it ends up passing my final one. Um, Again, those are my thoughts. So who I expect to go, uh, quote quote expect, because again I could see Romania, North Macedonia, or Norway also in these top 10. Um, Ukraine, Australia, Lithuania, Malta, Azerbaijan, Israel, Slovenia, Cyprus, Russia, and Sweden. Now, semifinal two. So this semifinal we have 17 as opposed to 16 countries, and my average ranking was 17.6. So semifinal one technically was higher ranked on average than semifinal two. Um, but we do have an extra country, uh, but again averages. And even looking at it, right, you see that we have 3 through 18 here, and then we have 23, 24, 28 to 30. It's they're very close. So how much does it matter? Who knows? Who cares? It's just interesting. It's just an interesting thing to think about, to muse on. Okay, so again, if I said off of my top 10, off of my top 10, who do I think who would go? Who would move on? If I just said these are how I like that, this is how I rank top 10, so therefore these are who are moving on. It would be Iceland, Greece, Austria, Portugal, Switzerland, Albania, Moldova, Denmark, Finland, Georgia. But again, I think critically. I have that capacity. We all have that capacity. Let's be realistic. Iceland and Greece, I'm definitely keeping. Unfortunately, as much as the Austrian song moves me, I don't expect it to move on. There's no way you're not telling me Portugal is not moving on past semifinal two. I think if somehow Portugal does not move past the second semifinal, that would probably be the biggest upset. I don't see that happen. Actually, I can't say that would be the biggest upset because there are a couple of people I would be really upset if didn't move on past the semifinal too. But I feel like Portugal is a given with this song. Switzerland, I'm keeping. Um, Moldova is staying in, and Finland is staying in. Who is leaving? So again, Austria, Albania. I don't know. Albania came out. It's the first song we heard from the cycle. I heard from the cycle. Um, and then they got a revamp, rework, whatever. Um, and then but you also hear the other songs. It's just like comparatively, yes, it came out first, and yes, it has a strong place in my heart. But do I think now, comparatively with all the other songs, that it's going to move on? I'm not really. I don't think so. So I said no to Albania and my expectations. Um, Denmark, I enjoy the Danish song so much. You can enjoy it for its kitsch, for its throwbackiness, for its being in Danish. Um, but I think the song in and of itself is a fun song to listen to. I enjoy it. I think the production value would be wild to see it on stage. I would love to see it on stage. But expectations, what I would expect to see versus, or what I would want to see based on my rankings versus what I expect to see, I don't necessarily think that it will be appreciated for its as a song in and of itself outside of its kitschiness. So I don't expect it to move on. The Georgian song, another song that we went from one extreme to another between the 2 years. Last year we had the rockiness, the in your face screaminess. This year we have the soft calmness. It's great. I enjoyed the song, but I don't know that I expected to move on with respect to the other entries in the semifinals. So who am I adding? I'm adding in San Marino. Valentina 2022 is what we're saying. I'm adding in Bulgaria. The Bulgarian song, I feel about it the same way I felt about the song from the Netherlands year before last, Duncan Lawrence. I didn't necessarily like that song, but I see that a lot of people do. I said as I was reacting to the song that it reminds me of that song, of the Duncan Lawrence song. It gave me Duncan Lawrence vibes. So I think it's definitely going to move on, whether or not I like it. And then the other two songs I added. Latvia excuse me, I meant to write Estonia there, I didn't. Latvia and Estonia. Now, why did I add Latvia and Estonia as opposed to Czech Republic, Serbia, Poland? The Latvian song is a high bop. It's a highly danceable bop. Um, and the Estonian song, the man could sing, and it's not slow ballad, but it's not wild high BPM. But I think it'll move on. That's what I expect. I can't really always articulate why I expect these things, but this is just what I expect. The song from Czech Republic, I think a couple songs this year did that. If they were, uh, doing more of the same, maybe they had an allusion to a previous song, or maybe they sampled a snippet of the previous song sound wise. Because for me, Umaga sounds like Kamama a bit. You have Azerbaijan referencing Cleopatra, and so on. So I enjoy the song from Czech Republic. I enjoy the song from Serbia as a song to put on and dance. Same for Poland, but I don't know that they inspire strong enough emotion one way or the other. Because I think in my expectations tend to be a mix of songs that are known to be doing fairly popularly among fans at this point, and songs that are either split, like either people don't like them or people really love them. Um, so yeah, these are my rankings or expected finalists. And then so who between the two semifinals, these are the 20 I expect to go. Again, semifinal one: Ukraine, Australia, Lithuania, Malta, Azerbaijan, Israel, Slovenia, Cyprus, Russia, Sweden. From semifinal two: Iceland, Greece, Portugal, Switzerland, Moldova, Finland, Latvia, San Marino, Estonia, and Bulgaria. Mm-hmm. And then between my expected rankings based on expected finalists based on ranking, and between just my expectation groupings, there were three entries I didn't have advancing either way, respectively, in each semifinal. For semifinal one, it was Croatia, Ireland, Norway, and for Iceland, it was Czech Republic, Serbia, Poland. I didn't have to uh, advancing in either way, and both instances, those entries were respectively ranked lower um, for me. But I do think a case could be made for um, any of them to move on. I think maybe the one that would surprise me the most if it moved on would be Ireland. It's I don't dislike the song, and it's by no means my lowest ranked song, but it's just it's too easy. It's too easy. I guess is the best way I can put it. Uh, I can't always articulate best, why I expect these things or why I don't, but that's just my expectation. But who would actually be least surprising to see um, advance from of those grouping of six? I think for semifinal one, it would be Norway for me, and from semifinal two, it would be Serbia for me. Those I might be underestimating those might easily move on to their respective final from the respective semifinals. Um, so but again, you could make a case for any of the other um, two respectively in each semifinal. So thoughts and reflections. You know, it's a solid year. It's a big year of like 80s throwbacks, dance tracks, very few ballads, a lot fewer ballads than what I would have expected, um, because maybe that's how that's what I come to expect from American media propaganda is that you have a tragedy, you then follow up that tragedy with songs of remembrance and songs of mourning or songs of reflection that tend to be sad, slower, uplifting type of songs, as opposed to like, hey, aren't you tired of being indoors? Let's dance. It's time to have a party. But so it's a solid year, and I could see almost every entry winning. You could make a case for every entry either advancing to the final or winning. I think because you know you never know. You could have a bunch of people, a bunch of entries, a bunch of votes coming in for entries that the way the votes end up working, an unexpected winner emerges. Or you could have a landslide type victory, whatever. But they're entries for a reason. They could all possibly win. But also, a lot can happen in a month. It's April. It's March. Excuse me. It's March 31st right now, and or a little more than a month to the contest. Um, a lot could happen. We don't live in a vacuum where the outside world does not affect. Obviously, that's why it was canceled last year. But public health things are happening. Um, Political things happen all the time. So a lot can happen in a month. Whether all of these acts in 2 weeks are still competing, who knows? Whether we get our finalists and then next thing you know, one of the finalists can't compete for whatever reason, which has happened. Who knows? So it's all a fun game. This is all just it's all just fun. It's all funness. But we get great music is the point. So let me know what you thought about what I thought and why you disagree. And if you or why you agree. Maybe you have 19 of the 20 you agree with me on, and there's one you disagree with me on. Let me know so I get a better sense of what people are thinking. But also, it's just fun to talk about why one person thinks one way and another person thinks a different way, especially when it comes to something as generally inconsequential as a song contest. So, thanks for watching. Here I just have a little collage of photos I think best encapsulate this year. We've got the 80s throwback, which is, heard in a lot of songs this year. We've got that weird sub theme of religious imagery, iconography, whatever. But I do think it's going to be a danceable year, but also social distancing because, the panorama, the pandemic that's going on. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Till next time, goodbye.